at New Haven Superior Court, where the jury will hear more testimony later today. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Sarah. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, more testimony, possibly more about Joshua Komisarjevsky and those very bizarre rantings inside his journal that were allowed in this penalty phase. Now, what we have learned so far is that Joshua Komisarjevsky seems to blame Dr. Pettit himself for what he says being a coward for not being able to break free of those ropes. He talked more details about 11-year-old Michaela bragging about the power and control he had over her. But what was more interesting is the entries that were not written, that were not read in court, I should say. Some of these entries now seem to suggest that Komisarjevsky says it was Hayes who was in charge of the killing and says that he regrets not killing Hayes himself. And it was Stephen Hayes, the man who faces a death penalty himself, was the one who turned the home invasion into a triple homicide. The penalty phase of the Stephen Hayes trial goes into its second week today. His defense team continues to deflect attention back to Joshua Komisarjevsky. When journal entries were introduced, a picture of a ranting co-defendant came into focus. Komisarjevsky bragged about his prowess as a burglar, called the sole survivor, Dr. Pettit, a coward, and seemed to relish the power he had over 11-year-old Michaela. What was not read in open court is even more chilling. Komisarjevsky says he should have killed Hayes, and that it was Hayes who put the wheels in motion that led to the deaths of the three Pettit women. He writes that if he had killed Hayes, then there might not have been a triple murder. He seemed to imply a death wish of his own, recalling barreling through a police barricade after the house was set on fire. What he doesn't say is who lit the match that started the fire that ultimately killed the Pettit daughters. But that may not matter to a jury who has already convicted Stephen Hayes and has now to decide whether or not he is to be put to death. Entries were not allowed in the main trial of Stephen Hayes. They are allowed in the penalty phase. There's less of a legal threshold, so the jury has heard some of those excerpts. Whether or not it backfires, because of what Komisarjevsky is saying is Hayes' premier role in the triple killings, that remains to be seen. What's going to happen today? There'll be more testimony. Another day of testimony tomorrow. After that, both lawyers will make their closing arguments, and the case could go to the jury for their penalty decision as early as November 1st. Reporting live outside the courthouse, Tom Lewis, Fox, Connecticut.
Thanks, Tom.
Smoke detectors may have saved lives in Bolton overnight. Flames hit this two-story home on Rocco Road just after 1 o'clock, but it was put out pretty